Public call special just to get you. You guys ready on the left? You guys ready on the right? Good evening and welcome to the November 15th of the Glenville Town Board. Please rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. For tonight's invocation, I just ask you to take a moment of silence to offer your own intentions. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please call the roll.
Councilman Martin?
Here.
Councilman Ramichardt?
Here.
Councilman Kurdo?
Here.
Councilwoman Barone?
Here.
Supervisor Ketzler?
Here. Welcome, everybody. Our agendas are up front. If you did not pick one up yet, there are 3 add-ons on the back of the agenda, which we'll take up after item number 19 and before item 20. And those are add-on items 1, a resolution approving the crossing agreement with the Champlain Hudson Power Express electric transmission cable system crossing. There's a lot to say there, and authorizing the supervisor to execute that delivery of that agreement. Second add-on 2 is a resolution nullifying a resolution that was passed in 2022 regarding a bonding of a project for water improvements that happened in September 7th of 2022. We'll be nullifying that resolution. And then add-on resolution 3 is authorizing the purchase of a vehicle for the town of Glenville Highway Department. So those are the add-ons. With that, I'll start with town council reports. I'll start on my left with Councilman Kirkland.
No report.
Gotta give me time to drink. Councilwoman Barone.
No report.
Councilman Martin.
No report.
Councilman Ramichardt.
No reports.
Wow. I wasn't going to do a supervisor's report, but now I'm going to. We're going to start. We have a couple public hearings here. We have 4 public hearings. We do have to start with those first, so we will open those public hearings. We'll ask anyone who wishes to be heard on those matters, those specific matters, to come up and address the town board on those matters. And then we'll go to privilege of the floor after that, which is really for anyone to talk about any town-related business. So we're going to open up the first public hearing, which is a public hearing to hear all those interested in a proposed local law amending certain provisions of the code of the town of Glenville. And I'm going to open that public hearing. I'm going to address it quickly. And I don't know, Councilman Martin, if you have anything to add, but just to let folks know what we're amending here. This is something we've talked about for a while, but we're amending a building height definition in our code, which would make building height synonymous with peak height of a building, no matter the type of roof. Apparently, there was some gray area confusion on what type of roof and what building height actually, how it was measured. So these are technical code revisions, but we'll go through them just real quick anyway. Revision of accessory use and structures is also going to be addressed in this. We will allow accessory structures in the front yard of parcels over 3 acres and located in rural agricultural districts if the accessory structure meets the required front setback of 75 feet. And I think this is really in a way to allow for larger barns or sheds in rural agricultural areas. We're also going to fix a typo correction in the RA zoning district on setbacks and add 1 foot to the 1,200 foot setback requirement to be 1,201 to eliminate any overlaps. And then lastly, we're going to remove the 75% footprint of a dwelling required because it would be clearer to stick with the 20% lot coverage limitation rather than use both 20% lot coverage and 75% footprint dwelling. So you can see these are very technical cleanup matters regarding our code, but the public hearing is open. And Councilman Martin or our planner Tony Tazzi, if you have anything to shore me up on what I just said. Excellent. All good? Yeah. Public hearing is now open. Anyone wish to be heard on those matters? Amending the code to clean up some language in our zoning code. Going once, going twice. Seeing none, that public hearing is now closed. Next public hearing is to hear all those interested in the imposition of liens on parcels in real property, which is on Schedule A you have before us for the cutting of grass, brush, or weeds, and any property maintenance administrative fees pursuant to the Chapter 99 of the Town Code. I'm going to open that public hearing. This is for the imposition of any of the fees for property maintenance that happened over the summer. You all have the property listed in your resolution. Public hearing is now open. Anyone wish to be heard on that matter? Going once, going twice. Seeing none, that public hearing is now closed. Next public hearing is to hear all those interested in a proposed local law amendment to Local Law 5 of 2022, establishing the Hortsman Farm Mixed-Use Plan Development District in the town of Glenville. We're going to open that public hearing. I'm going to ask Dave from, no, I'm sorry, we don't have anyone from Hortsman Farm here. You're for Papalizio. This is the one that would clean up, and Tony, you can clarify anything that I missed here, but this would clean up some ambiguity in the sunset provision of the PDD itself. There's some confusion as to when the PDD would actually sunset, and this really clarifies that and makes it very simple and easy to understand when the clock starts and when the clock ends. Pretty much. Okay, so that public hearing is now open. This clarifies the sunset provision for that particular PDD. Going once, going twice, seeing none, that public hearing is now closed. And we have a public hearing, last one, for all those interested in the proposed local law amending a zoning map change. And this one does deal with Mr. Papalizio's property. We have Dave from ABD who will give a very quick overview. I will open the public hearing and start with Dave's presentation from ABD. And this is the one where we're moving, eliminating the split zoning and moving the zoning with the Freeman's Bridge Road and RTD zones. Dave, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you and good evening. My name is Dave Kimmer from ABD Engineers. I'm here on behalf of the Papalizios who own this approximately 13-acre parcel here, which fronts on both Freeman's Bridge Road and Maple Avenue. As you can see by the yellow line here, part of the property is in the Research Development Technology District and the rest of it is in the Freeman's Bridge Road zoning district. So what they want to do is subdivide about 4.5 acres up here on Maple Avenue. So there's going to be two parcels, one that just fronts on Maple Avenue, one that just fronts on Freeman's Bridge Road. And in the process of doing the subdivision, they want to clean up this zoning line so that it follows the new subdivision line, so that this portion here, where this blue line is also going to be in the Research Development Technology Zone. The reason they want to do that is because they do want to eventually be able to develop the property, by the Research Development Technology standards.
Does anybody have any questions for Dave before we have any other comments from our folks? We've seen this multiple times before. I think we're pretty comfortable with it.
I hate split zone parcels.
I think that's it.
Yep.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it.
I'll just leave this up here.
Okay. Anyone wish to be, the public hearing is open. Anyone wish to be heard on that matter? This is changing the zoning parcel here with a subdivision and changing the zoning between the Freeman's Bridge Road overlay district and the Research Development Technology. This is affecting Maple Avenue and Freeman's Bridge Road. Going once, going twice, seeing none. That is now closed. Thank you, Dave. We're going to now move in just a moment to privilege of the floor. We have a few folks signed up for privilege of the floor. I will start with the people who are signed up. And then if someone wishes to address the board on any matter regarding town business, just raise your hand and I will ask you to come to the podium. We ask all speakers to state their name and address for the record. The clerk will record the address just for the record. And we'll start by opening privilege of the floor. And we'll start with Jim Sheen.
Good evening. I'm Jim Shearer. I live over on Montclair Drive, across from Parkside Y. I'm a volunteer, not a spokesman for New York Citizens Audit. This has been discussed, ad infinitum here. I think you've had the resolution since maybe April, kicking around.
Can you speak up a little, Jim? Just speak up a little.
Yeah, okay,
So
well.
we can hear it.
So we have a couple of speakers with the factual information that are going to follow me, but we wanted to just read. I'm going to read the asks of the resolution. Complete end-to-end audit of the New York State 2022 general election for both paper and electronic records, including ballots, by a mutually agreed upon external third-party bonded auditing firm possessed of adequate insurance and indemnification for the handling and protection of the personal identities information of millions of New York citizens in order to determine the true error rate. This audit will provide a comprehensive report and analysis of all lapses and errors with explanation of cause where it can be determined. 2, the enactment of legislation defining a mutually agreed upon process by which an end-to-end audit would be triggered in any future elections. The enactment of legislation defining a mutually agreed upon accuracy rate for New York State voter and county votes, voter roll databases. Number 4, the enactment of legislation allowing for anonymous vote verification and tracking by the voter, open source, royalty-free, patent pending, including automatic mechanisms to report and remedy errors during the canvass period following an election, regardless of ballot entry source. 5, criminalize election misconduct, explicitly with regard to state election law, increase penalties to reflect the societal and generational harms inflicted by these crimes. The last time I spoke on this topic, we had changed, my wife and I had changed our voter registrations, and if you lie and you check, I'm a citizen on the first box, and our esteemed governor allows illegal immigrants to get driver's licenses, that's a valid proof. So, yes, I'm a citizen. It's a lie. I have a valid driver's license. They're going to get a voter ID. Simple as that. So, thank you.
Thank you. The next person on the list, I think, I just had a hard time with the Ann Broker. No, it's okay. I do too. That's why I can read it. Yeah.
Okay. I'm a volunteer for New York Citizens Audit and not a spokesperson. My name is Anna Broker. I live in Wine-and-Skill, New York, and I'd like to express my gratitude for being allowed to address this board. On October 21st, 2021, New York Citizens Audit received their first copy of the state voter roll database, NYS Voter. Then, using FOIL requests, we asked every county board of elections for copies of its local database. Not all complied. This was important because election law clearly states that county boards of elections maintain their own databases, with the state database acting as a compilation. The state has almost no authority to add, change, or delete any information from the database. When New York Citizens Audit first began, the 2020 general election was the primary focus. As I mentioned, New York Citizens Audit foiled, received, examined, and compared the New York State voter database, the official record under the Help America Vote Act, HAVA. We found many anomalies in the voter registration databases, and we had questions. Our research has identified 5.1 million registration violations with what appears to be flawed data, making them invalid and violating election laws. Our head researcher found 4 distinct algorithms in the New York State voter rolls. This resulted in a peer-reviewed article, The Caesar Cipher in Stacking the Deck and the New York State Voter Rolls, published in the Journal of Information Warfare by a brilliant researcher, Andrew Paquette. He uncovered a complex and highly well-hidden mathematical algorithm in the New York State voter rolls with no legitimate purpose. In an article published by the American Thinker, he says, although there is a question about why the algorithms exist in the New York State database, we cannot find a legitimate explanation for their presence. They perform no clear security function, mainly because the voter rolls are public and none of the data is masked. Likewise, the algorithms likely needed to be designed to optimize database performance. If anything, they severely retard database performance. Every county official I've spoken with on this subject, and they wish to remain anonymous, has stated they had no idea the algorithms existed. None had seen any of their existence. We know fictitious records exist in the rolls. We also know those records have been used to vote, end quote. We know that records like those belonging to fictitious voters have been deleted. None of this is visible at the County Board of Elections level. This means an easily exploited opportunity exists to inject any number of illegally generated State Board of Elections ID numbers, which we know has been done. Assign votes to them, which we know has been done, and then delete the evidence by deleting the State Board of Elections ID numbers associated with the excess votes. We have people registered to vote after they voted or before they were born. Over 1 million people are registered to vote on federal holidays, which is highly improbable. We have forged registration documents. We have evidence here of massive database manipulation. This is a total loss of control data breach of New York State elections. We submitted our findings to the state authorities in August. They have yet to respond to our demand for a line-by-line explanation of the 5+ million lines of data. New York State has refused to acknowledge our request to meet with them and review the findings. Instead, they send letters to New York State counties telling them untruths about New York Citizens Audit volunteers. We have put out press releases, which you can see on auditny.com. I don't know, did you give them any of the press releases? Okay, so you have a copy. Okay, great. Rather than sit down with us, they choose this tactic to send out articles and information about us that are not provable, not true. And lastly, you represent us. You're our first line of defense. You're our relatives, you're our friends, you're our neighbors. Please consider this request and pass the resolution. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. The next speaker is Kevin, is it Goggins?
Thank you very much for allowing me to speak, and good luck with your future endeavors. That was exciting to read that. And thank you all for serving on the board. I know that that's tireless. I've been here a few times, spoken here a couple of times, and been to a few different board meetings. I live at 17 Thoroughbred Way, Clifton Park, by the way. And you guys do a great job with the board and communication. It's good to see. I'm also not a spokesperson for New York Citizens Audit. I'm a volunteer. So why are we here and why now? Well, we've brought this information, as Anna said, to every single law enforcement agency in the state. Everyone you can think of. Board of Elections, the Secretary of State, the Attorney General, the New York State highest levels of the State Troopers Investigation Unit, Inspector General, everybody. and town boards. We've passed this resolution and coming up on 60 town boards across the state. And basically, those folks are just blowing us off and doing nothing. Yes, as Anna said, they are sending letters, which I'm going to partly read here in a second, but they don't meet with us. They choose no transparency. They choose not to meet with us and sit down and go through the information. They don't answer our requests when we send them all of the research reports that we have and what we found. There's no transparency, and there's no likelihood of any transparency unless we hold them accountable. So we come to town boards, give them this resolution, which Jim read the portions of the asks. The beginning part of that resolution is all the information, much of the data that you have that we found over the 10,000 hours of investigation we've done, our group has done, and our researchers, PhD level researchers, data science people. We're not some fly-by-night organization. We spent a lot of time on this, and we're happy to back this up and sit down with anybody and talk about it. So that's why we're here. If you pass this resolution, it'd be the fourth town in Schenectady County to pass it. We begin to then put pressure on the county legislature to pass it. And then we put pressure on the state legislature. Oh, by the way, we've presented to the election law committee of the state, combined state Senate Assembly Legislative Law Committee on May 1st, giving them all the information and data. So that will begin to put pressure on them to maybe actually do something. Now, what are we actually asking for? An audit. Audit. The audit business is a $200 billion a year industry worldwide. Everybody in this room has probably been associated with an audit of some sort. You have audits of your town departments all the time. State has audits of their departments all the time. Counties, 501c3s, everyone has audits. We're just asking for an audit. We are not asking to overturn the election, change ballots, throw somebody out, choose a candidate. We're not partisan. We just want an audit. We think it's transparent. We think it's fair. We think it's very reasonable because of the data that we found. If we didn't find the data, we wouldn't be asking for an audit. You have much of that information in front of you. As Anna said, it's all available on auditny.com. So you can find all the information you want. So that's why we're here, and that's why we'd like you to step up and be one of the other towns that passes this resolution. Elections, if you read the federal definition of elections, they need to be valid. That's one of the things when you're certifying it, it needs to be valid. How can 5.1 apparent irregular voter registrations be valid? Let me just get my other number. How can 1.5 million people on the voter rolls with no purge date? They're purged with no date. Why is that important? Well, if you're purged with no purge date, you don't know when that purge occurred. It's a violation of the law. I don't have it written down, the law number. I have some laws written down, but it's very plain. So what does that mean? You could purge somebody off the voter rolls, and you wouldn't know when it happened, so you don't know if the votes that are on their voter history are legitimate. Because when did they get purged? Before they committed cast those votes, or after? So that's a violation of law. 1.5 million. There's 700,000 purged records. It's very hard to purge a voter, but there's 700,000 of them that were purged, and they were never active. How can you be a purged voter but never be active? Why would somebody register to be purged? That doesn't happen. It's not sensical. This is common sense stuff we're talking about. These are the numbers we've uncovered. We just want the transparency. We'd like the audit. We'd like to see what the answer is to some of those. I know this puts you in a tough spot. I know this is not a popular subject, election information, right? I know, I understand that. We've been all over the state. Matter of fact, I've been in multiple states. Just to let you know, our organization is now aligned with 23 states. You won't be shocked to find the things we're finding in other states. Very similar stuff. So this stuff is going to come to a head. But the Board of Election tells you one thing. So just one example of the things we found. We found you have a state Board of ID number. Everybody has one state Board of ID number. It's like a Social Security number. That's basically what it means, right? Very simple, you get one. Do any of you have two Social Security numbers? No, nobody does. Nobody here has two Social Security. Have you ever met anybody with a second Social Security number? No. 5% of our voting population has two state Board of IDs. There's some people with 25 state Board of ID numbers. We can show you all that. We can give you all that information. Let me just read to you. Anna said they like to write information about us. This is from the Board of Election. So I'm going to read first the laws that pertain to this and then their response. New York State Code 62-17-1B. New York State voters shall maintain one record for each voter, including the statewide unique identifier. That's the State Board of ID number. New York State 62-17-5. New York State voters shall assign a unique identifier to every voter that will remain with that voter for their voting life. 614-4. There shall be one official record of the registration of each voter. Such record shall be maintained in an interactive, statewide, computerized voter registration list. Such statewide voter registration list shall constitute the official list of voters for the state of New York. Here's what the Board of Election wrote to what we found with all these duplicate numbers. Although the state database is designed to have a single voter ID follow a voter as they move from county to county, it is possible for multiple reasons that a voter may have multiple records with different state IDs. They just admitted a violation of the law multiple times. It's not possible. The law is not designed for that. That is the law. They are not following the law. They will be held accountable. Question is, what boards, town boards across the state are going to help that happen? We hope you guys are one of them. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to be heard on this matter? Oh, I'm sorry, we're on privilege of the floor. Anyone else have anything to address the board on? Going once, going twice, seeing none. What, John? Somebody else want? You could speak. You want to speak?
I think the thing that,
I'm sorry, I need your name and address.
Andrew Cook, 18 Rosalind Drive, Boston Lake, New York.
Andrew Cook. Cook, right?
Yeah, COOK.
Helping the clerk out.
You got it, thank you. No, what I was thinking about today in reference to things that are happening in our world today, there's a lot of crazy things that are happening. You know, the idea of one world government currency and things like that. What I reflected on, or what I came to my mind was back in Germany, when Nazi Germany came to be, you had these young children being indoctrinated with the brown shirts, and they basically came under the illusion of reporting their own parents as being against the Nazi government, in which these kids were indoctrinated to that form. And what I thought about is, you know, if there are things that we need to look at, such as this, I think we really should look at it in a way that would reflect the importance of finding out the truth. And I think without the truth, we're really swimming against the current, and we're going to find ourselves in a position where at some point we're going to say, why didn't we say something when we had an opportunity to do that? And I would reiterate with these, the time and energy that these people have put into that, to say, we need to do by our children the right things, okay? And our children are going to suffer the consequences if we don't do the things that we need to do. And that's what I would say. Thank you for the time that you give me to speak. And I wish you well on your journey with the hard work that you guys do. And I thank you for doing that for us. Thank you.
Thank you. Still on privilege of the floor. Anyone else like to be heard on any town matter? Going once, going twice, seeing none. Privilege of the floor is now closed. We'll now move to the supervisor's comments to the board. I have just a few comments to the board. It'll be short and really easy. Just to report to folks, Bob joined me and the deputy mayor and Ray Gillen and a few other officials to break ground on the Mohawk Hudson bike hike trail of a portion of it's in the town of Glenville that's going to link that river loop we talked about. It's going to link Freeman's Bridge Road to Shawnee and Scotia. It's going to link that into Schenectady. It's going to link into the New York State Trail. And next spring, we're breaking ground on Freeman's Bridge Road, where we'll be having, be building a two sides of the road trails up Freeman's Bridge Road to Dutch Meadows. There's a project going on Dutch Meadows. They're going to help us get sidewalks there as well. So all this connectivity is starting to happen. And yesterday we broke ground on it. It was a little cold day, but we're hardy out there. The staff came, Tony and Vicky and Craig and some others. And I think it's going to be a historic day looking back, because it's going to be the first step really in bringing pedestrian friendly paths in that entire area of the town and connect us to other areas. So we're excited about that. It was a nice day. Staying on Freeman's Bridge Road, the planning board did give final approval to Taco Bell. Taco Bell's coming on Freeman's Bridge Road at the end of Dutch Meadows, right next to Verizon. And I just want to, take a moment, and Jim could speak more about this, but there's a gentleman in this room that I think that's helped us with our efforts to revitalize Freeman's Bridge Road. And that's been most of you have been involved with this for a while as well, but it's been a long journey of trying to revitalize what I consider a desert corridor, much like when we came here and we looked at town center. And so when we looked at it, we knew that we're missing a couple things in Freeman's Bridge Road. I mean, we could talk about all the problems of the contamination and the zoning and all the things that were wrong, and we fixed all that. But we had a multi-pronged strategy. One of them was we knew we needed rooftops in Freeman's Bridge Road. Gentleman behind me came in with a project on Dutch Meadows that is beautiful and is great for the town and very positive, but it's part of the success story of what's going on Freeman's Bridge Road. Because once those rooftops get in here and people start to see the population that lives around Freeman's Bridge Road, now you start to get brands. It starts with Taco Bell. We've been talking with others, but the brands come in, and I know some people talk about, well, we don't like brands, we like small business. Well, brands support small business. It's a strategy, right? It's these things come together and work together, because the brands bring people into the corridor. The small business will benefit from that. You need a mix of that in every successful commercial corridor. So, I just want to point out that, again, this is the start of the redevelopment of Freeman's Bridge Road, and I think you're going to see it take off like Town Center did. And that project on Dutch Meadows was really the start of it, the genesis, and I'm glad that it's starting to come together. But that we're very excited about Taco Bell. Whether you like their food or not, I've heard all the different opinions on Facebook. If you don't like it, don't go. And if you do like it, enjoy it. That's all I'm going to tell you. And if you want to open a Longhorn Steakhouse, come on in and get your application in. We'll look at it. We'll certainly welcome that as well. I had a chance to meet with Tony and Craig, the folks from Clough Harbor, who are working on the Ballston sewer project up there, the study, and the town of Glenville has taken part in that, and we're going to approach that in a team effort where we're looking at two areas of study connecting into what will become the Ballston portion of it and into the Saratoga County sewer system. We're going to look at from the Ballston town of Glenville line down to Hetcheltown as one area, and we're only looking at the frontage on Route 50. You all remember we did a Delaware study a couple years back that looked at a much bigger portion. It was just way too expensive and included residential and neighborhoods, and it went all the way down to Price Chopper. This is going to be a very limited study as a way of trying to get more development, better development on Route 50. So it's only going to be the properties fronting Route 50, not the neighborhoods at this juncture. And then the second area study is that same area, the town of Ballston, town of Glenville line, down past Hetcheltown to Gleason, and try to pick up more in that corridor. And we're going to look at both of those and see if it's cost effective to hook into the Saratoga sewer system, as opposed to last time we were looking at hooking in and sending it back down to Schenectady, which is way too expensive. So that project and study is underway, and we're very excited about that. I do want to take a moment to acknowledge that we had an election recently. I want to congratulate Bob Kirkham. You did a great job there. We're glad to have you back. You're a wonderful asset to the board. And I'd say I'm looking forward to working with you, but just for a little bit longer. And, I have some mixed feelings about leaving, obviously, but I would have looked forward to working with you longer. And I wish you well, and I know you're going to do great things for the town board. I was very saddened to see Amanda not make it, and I send my condolences. You are now, and you have been a tremendous asset to the board. It really is a injustice, I can tell you. I've worked with a lot of board members, and you're one of the better ones by far. We're going to miss you, but we hope you stay involved. We hope you serve in some capacity, and that you're going to continue to move the community forward like you have been for so many years now. And I would say again, in any way that we get you involved, but I won't be here, so someone will get you involved if you're not. So thank you for your service to the town, though. And then lastly, it's a historic night tonight. We have an employee leaving us. Unfortunately, it's his last board meeting. He doesn't like a lot of attention on him, so we don't have proclamations and bells and whistles and anything like that. He may not even like this portion of it. But our longtime comptroller, Jason Cuthbert, is leaving us. This is his last meeting. He's on a plane for overseas on the 30th, and he's not coming back. And we're going to miss him very much. Jason has been a tremendous part of this team. He has been the driver for a lot of the success we've had in our financial, in our budgets, and our financial successes. And over the 10 years, it was Jason's work that got us to help cut the debt as we did by 65%, $14 million we lowered our debt over the past, many years of this administration. Protected the fund balance, $1 million of protecting the fund balance. Jason was part of building our first reserves the town ever had, debt reserve, capital reserve. Jason has kept us the lowest tax community still, part of that team that kept us the lowest tax community in Schenectady County. And Jason has been part of the team that has made sure that we've never hit the tax cap. Jason and I have worked well together as partners. We've butt heads before, and I've wanted to do some things that maybe weren't the best things to do, and I listened to him, and I'm glad I listened to him. He's been a great advisor to this board, great advisor to me, to our department heads. I could tell you he does his job well. He takes it seriously. We're going to miss him, and I ask you just to give a round of applause to Jason Cuthbert for all his great work. Jason, you want to give a speech? All right. That's Jason. That's all I have. Thank you.
I just want to echo my admiration for Jason. He's been a tremendous resource to me as a board member, and he's done more for this community than I think any resident would realize. And he and I are very much in alignment on our budgetary philosophy and our fiscal outlook on things, and he's just been a tremendous asset, and he'll truly be missed. And I'll just finish by saying I wish you the absolute best in retirement, and I hope it's a very long and fulfilling one. You deserve it. Thank you for what you've done.
We're going to save our admiration for Jason for new business.
Okay,
We'll
well.
get back to you, Jason. Give you time to think about it. I got the camera on you right now. So, I know you love it. I know you love it. All right, there we go.
See that camera you bought? What do you think?
So on to item 11, a resolution authorizing the proposed imposition of liens on parcels regarding the Schedule A that's in your resolution on cutting grass, brush, and other administrative fees. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor. There are 24 properties that have overgrown brush and grass and weeds, and letters were sent out. Nothing was done about it. And at the expense of the town, it was done, and we're now holding liens against those 24 properties.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Ramichardt?
Yes.
Councilman Kirkland?
Yes.
Councilwoman Barone?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 12, adopting the 2024 preliminary budget as the 2024 final budget of Town of Glenville for fiscal year commencing January 1, 2024. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
A second.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Another tribute to Jason. He's done a wonderful job with our budgeting. Did another great job this year with the budget. We have a very solid budget. We're accomplishing a lot of projects in this budget. We're keeping the tax cap low, or I'm sorry, the tax increase low and under the cap. And so it's a good final signature piece for Jason as he goes off. Any other questions or comments on that? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Ramichardt?
Yes.
Councilman Kirkland?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brown?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 13, adopting local law 6 of 2023, which amends certain provisions of the code of the town of Glenville. This is in relation to the public hearing we just had and that boring list of cleanup I listed for you. And so do I have a motion?
I'll move
Do
it.
I have a second?
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor. Some of us find zoning, kind of compelling. But it be that as it may. No,
Do you like roof types to in relation to building height?
you'd be surprised how important that could be. When it's your roof, you'll be. But no, seriously though, this entails the list of items that you summarized prior to the public hearing earlier this evening. And I also give credit to our planning and community development staff. They've done a very good job through the years, keeping our code up to date and meeting the needs of our residents. So I just want to say thanks to them.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
I as well would like to comment here and just say I think this adds some real clarity that was needed to especially West Glenville, our rural areas. So thank you, Tony and Nick, and yes, so I know he worked hard on this. So thank you guys, and Lynn as well, who's support there. Thank you for your hard work.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Ramichardt?
Yes.
Councilman Kirkland?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brown?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 14, adopting local law 7 of 2023, amending local law 5 of 2022, establishing the Horseman Farm mixed-use plan development district. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, this again, as summarized in the public hearing earlier this evening on this proposed amendment, this now enacts that amendment, and it gives some clarity to the sunset provision.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Ramichardt?
Yes.
Councilman Kirkland?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brown?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 15, adopting local law 8 of 2023, amending the town of Glenville zoning map and the Freeman's Bridge Road corridor in the town of Glenville. Do I have a motion?
I'll move
Do
it.
I have a second?
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, again, this enacts a change to our zoning map, shifting the zoning boundary to track with a proposed subdivision line between the two noted parcels during the public hearing this evening, and it closes out that process.
Excellent. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Ramichardt?
Yes.
Councilman Kirkland?
Yes.
Councilwoman Brown?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Before we move to the next resolution, we have the gentleman here regarding the Dutch Meadows Lane Residential PDD. Bill Hoblock is here. He's already at the podium. Look at that, right on cue. The man who started the whole redevelopment down there.
Many years
is going
ago.
to talk a little bit about what he's asking for.
And Bill Hoblock with Ridgebell Capital Development Group, president and founding partner. And thanks, Chris, for the kind words on our community at Dutch Meadows Lane, that's known as the residences at Fox Meadow. We're certainly proud to be part of the Freeman's Bridge Road development. So we're here tonight just requesting two minor amendments to the Dutch Meadows Lane Residential Plan Development District. You should have the bound application. It's very brief. It's just, I don't know if Julie was able to hand it out yet, but just has a one-page narrative. Also has two attachments to it. One is the proposed amendment, just half a page, and then the backup, which is the existing PDD legislation. Some of the board members were not around when it was adopted, so that was submitted for the convenience of the board. Two aspects of the minor amendments that are proposed. First is in regard to subdividing the land for financing purposes. The development is being built in 3 separate phases. The first phase is complete, and we're in the process of placing a permanent loan on phase 1 and a construction loan to start phase 2. And in order to do that, both lenders require a subdivision of the one parcel into 2, which is very common in the financing world. We do it with all of our developments. So really the only change to the existing legislation in this regard is changing the map that's attached to the legislation that shows the subdivision boundary. That's it. There's no change to the wording, et cetera. So just the subdivision itself. And then the second proposed amendment actually corrects a typographical error in the original RPD legislation. The original legislation incorrectly stated the number of 26 unit buildings as 3, and it's actually 4. So those are the only amendments that we're requesting. Significantly, at the October 16 PZC meeting, they rendered a positive recommendation to this board in connection with the proposed minor amendments. And just here tonight to ask that you set a public hearing for your next meeting.
Anybody have any questions for Bill? Thank you, Bill.
Thanks for your time tonight. Appreciate it.
Okay, so we are gonna, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna open that, yeah. I need a motion for the resolution.
I will move it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, as detailed by the applicant, this proposes a public hearing on the changes as detailed, and that public hearing is scheduled for December 6th, 7 p.m. here in this room.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Thanks again for your time.
Thanks, Bill.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Ramichardt?
Yes.
Councilman Kirkland?
Yes.
Councilwoman Barone?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 17, authorizing the hiring of 2 seasonal recreational attendants. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, it is that time of year when we are adding more winter activities to our parks. And as such, Indian Meadows Park requires a few skating attendants for their ice skating rinks. So this would give the town of Glenville authorization to employ up to 2 seasonal recreational attendants between December 16th and March 24th, which I hope winter doesn't extend that long, but if it does, we've got ice skating help. So this is the resolution to authorize that.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Ramichardt?
Yes.
Councilman Kirkland?
Yes.
Councilwoman Barone?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 18, approving the minutes of the regular town board meeting held on November 1st. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Mr. Supervisor, this is just as stated, approving the minutes from the board meeting on November 1st.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Ramichardt?
Yes.
Councilman Kirkland?
Yes.
Councilwoman Barone?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 19, approving the monthly reports for October 2023. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
And again, as stated in the resolution, this is approving the monthly reports for October.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Ramichardt?
Yes.
Councilman Kirkland?
Yes.
Councilwoman Barone?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. We'll skip 20 new business for now and go on to the 3 add-ons. The first add-on, resolution 1, is approving the costing agreement with the Champlain Hudson Power Express Electric Transmission Cable System. They need a shorter name. Yes, I think that'd be helpful. And that authorizing the supervisor to execute that agreement. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Just to start a conversation, this is the Champlain Hudson Power Express project. They're crossing some town properties, and they need the resolution to allow them to cross such properties. As you can see, they're listed in the resolution by their, I thought they were listed in here.
There's an agreement. It's
No,
authorizing to sign the agreement.
Yeah,
It's in the agreement.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Ramichardt?
Yes.
Councilman Kirkland?
Yes.
Councilwoman Barone?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next resolution, add-on 2, nullifying the resolution 164 of 2022 that was adopted by the town board on September 7th, 2022. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. As you all know, we authorized a large project for water system improvement, $22,720,000. We, as you all know, we are taking that project in much smaller bites now and doing a multi-year project as opposed to the big $22 million project all at once. And that's really a function of not getting the grant that we went after. And we needed to pass the resolution to apply for the grant. And so since we didn't get the grant, we need to nullify the resolution and go forward with our project in stages as opposed to all at once. So this would nullify authorizing that project of $22,720,000. Any questions? Seeing none, please vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Mandapar?
Yes.
Councilman Kirkland?
Yes.
Councilwoman Barone?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next resolution, add-on 3, authorizing the purchase of a vehicle for the town of Glenville Highway Department. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor. The highway superintendent recommends the purchase of a snowplow / spreader for the winter seasons. It's within a capital budget appropriations for a price not to exceed $169,210.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Mandapar?
Yes.
Councilman Kirkland?
Yes.
Councilwoman Barone?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Move on to new business, and we'll start on my left with Councilman Kirkham.
I have nothing.
Nothing. Councilwoman Barone.
I got nothing. No new business.
Councilman Martin.
Oh, yeah, a couple of things. I'm going to reiterate my thanks to Jason. And also, we've heard from a number of people, and they've been here a number of weeks about this voting audit thing on this resolution. I'm fine with it. I don't know if there's any interest in moving this, or, maybe it requires a workshop or whatever, but I gotta say, I've heard I've heard them several times at the podium. It makes sense to me, and I really don't see the harm in an audit. There's no preconceived notions here. It's just making sure that, the count is occurring in a lawful manner and is valid. And I just don't see the downside to that or the negative. Everybody wants to have faith in our election system and the voter count. So I don't see the harm, and they keep coming here. They keep asking very politely. They provide some compelling information. I don't have a problem. So I don't know how everybody else feels, but in fairness to them, they're asking. If the answer is no, then fine, no. But if it's yes, then it's yes, and we move on. I really don't see.
Well, I mean, under new business, we could have this discussion now. I think it's been clear. I've talked to Jim. I've talked to some of the folks there. In my estimation, it's been no. I mean, I think it's obvious it's been no. And it's been no for a very simple reason that this is not in our lane. This is not what we do. What this says here may or may not be true. No idea. I have no idea. I don't know what your data says. I don't know how you got to your numbers. I don't know. But I can tell you that the Board of Elections Commissioner that I have a lot of respect for, and I've worked with for 20 years, tells me that this is flawed. Okay? Your elections commissioner, your Republican elections commissioner tells you it's flawed. So when we pass a resolution, we put our weight behind what this says. You pass a resolution, yes, you're saying that 100% this is accurate. There's no question about it. We don't know that. I don't know.
Well, that's not how I look at it.
But
That's making
Jim, I
an.
understand what you said. You said it's just asking for an audit, and that's a fair point. But that gives a perception to the public that we believe that there is something wrong. And I don't know if there is or if there isn't, but I'm not comfortable passing a resolution and putting my name on supervisor of this town to say, I don't believe in the election. Everything should be audited. They make a good point. Absolutely. We're audited. But it isn't the role of the town board. This is a county function, folks. You ought to be spending all your time at the county. The county led should be answering your questions. The county board of election, I mean, if they don't, then they don't. That's on them. But we are the town board of the town of Glenville, and this is not something that is in our bailiwick. We just don't know. We don't run the elections. We don't deal with it day to day. We have no idea how the operations of the county office is. And to pass a resolution, it means we stand up and we tell the people of this town, yeah, something's not right here, folks. I don't know what it is, but we're going to pass a resolution. I don't think that's fair. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying I don't believe you. I don't know. But for me to pass a resolution, it means I damn well know. There's no question. I know what I'm doing when I say yes to a resolution. I don't have it. I understand that, but that leaves a perception in people's minds that we are saying there's a problem. We don't, but, okay, you're the people of 30,000 people. Right. I understand.
I think it's, if I can speak for a second, I think, and I'm an independent, I'm not registered to any political party, so I don't really have any, I personally feel like it's our duty to look at the information objectively. And I don't feel comfortable personally making a decision, hearing one side and not the other. I'm not saying anybody's wrong. I'm just saying that we don't have complete information to make this decision. I also feel that there's a lot of questions about bringing an audit up. Who does this audit? How are they sanctioned? Who has jurisdiction over the accuracy of that audit? I think obviously transparency of information is critical, but then how do we determine that that information is transparent? I think there's a lot of questions raised by this. Again, not disagreeing with the information, but I just feel like there's too many unknowns right now for us to make a definitive decision. Right, but who is auditing the information? Who is, yeah.
Wait. I'm sorry. This is not meant to be an argument back or discussion back and forth. The town board is on new business. Town board is discussing this amongst ourselves if we want to take this up or not. I think the points have been made that you're comfortable doing so. I'm not, without casting dispersions or questions on anybody at all. I'm just saying, I don't know what's real and what's not real. And you make the point. We do not know. And if we were to say that we want an audit, then that leaves an impression in people's minds that we are saying there's something wrong with the data, or there may be something wrong with the data. The county of Schenectady County, the counties need to be the ones that are addressed on this, I believe, because they're the ones that run the operation. And they should be doing their audits, the state should be doing their audits, or whatever you want to do. But town boards are not the appropriate place for this, in my mind. I can't verify anything. And when I pass a resolution, as you all, put your name on it to say, I know this is true. You can't question me on it because I know it's true. I can't do that. And so therefore I can't accept the resolution. I don't know if anyone else has anything to say.
Well, I guess from my standpoint, I don't look at the resolution saying that. I'm not making any assumptions as to what's accurate, what's not. There has been an allegation made, and when allegations are put forth, the best way to refute an allegation is through objective study and factual analysis.
I'm going to just point out, Councilman, that this resolution does in fact call out 2,427,827 voter ID numbers that are not appropriate, 740,296 ineligible votes past case. But do you want to say that you absolutely know for certain it's 740,396 ineligible votes for cast statewide because someone said they were?
Well, no, and again, I'll
But
say
that's the resolution.
Yeah, but I don't want to enact this resolution. I wouldn't mind a resolution that simply says, I'd like to see an audit of the voter rolls and not get into a lot of data in detail because there's really no reason for that. I think that when I saw this, I'm actually quite surprised, and I've been around government quite a while, that there's not audits done anyhow as a matter of course. So I'm not saying that, I buy into one person's interpretation of data that's been looked at, that's obviously fraught with peril. But on the other hand, I wouldn't mind just straight up supporting an audit of the vote of the election and have it done on a regular basis every term.
Which is fine, but my understanding from my understanding from the commissioner is that elections are audited. Okay, you're asking for a voter roll audit, which is something different and something much further beyond a election audit. My understanding. I'm already into an area that I'm not comfortable with because it's not my day-to-day.
Right,
We do
I'm not
not
comfortable
do
either.
this. Truth in voting is important. Truth in voting is something I support, something everybody supports. It is not our role. We don't know the operations of the county or the state. This is misdirected. I truly believe that. We are the town. You know, you want to talk about your roads being plowed, you want to talk about the police patrolling, you want to talk about economic development, we'll talk about all that, and that's where I'm comfortable. But I can't tell you, I know one iota about what goes on with registering a person. I don't know what goes on with voter roll numbers and, you know, algorithms and database anomalies and all these sorts of things. And so you want to leave that out of the resolution. Now you just want to say, let's just have an audit. We're not going to pass a resolution that is really so watered down that it's almost comical. Let's just have an audit.
Right.
I mean, I don't think this is in the right place. I'm sorry, I've been saying this for close to a year now. It's just not in the right place. It doesn't belong in towns. It belongs in the county and the state. It's got to start somewhere, and it needs to start at the county.
But our kids, you gotta be thinking about our kids.
I do every day.
Even if you don't know it is true or not, if we don't step up to their plate and make somebody accountable for what, you're not talking about anything other than what everybody's audited. So why wouldn't they be audited? I mean, that's really all you're asking for. That's what getting it done.
I'm going to tell you, I don't even know if they are audited or not. They may audit. I don't know.
Well, should we find out anyway?
I think
I
people should, and I think
you're asking for that, shouldn't we find out?
I think
Rather than say, I don't think we should do a period.
Well, let me just say something. I know what you guys do for a living, but the bottom line is that you need to approach it from where it started. We are not in charge of that. For us to say, but you're missing the point. Listen for 1 second. It's not that I'm in disagreement with anyone, but there is a correct way to follow a process. That's all we're saying is the correct way to follow this process, where it's going to be heard and listened to, is through the county. That's bottom line. What you're doing right now, if you go when they have the county ledge meetings, do exactly what you're doing right now. This is when then they don't have. Well, if you come in force, then they might not, but that's how you have to do that. That's what we're saying right now. But you see how you're arguing with us, that's why you're going to win. That's the correct way of doing it. You might have our support, but if you go that route, you get more of our support. The bottom line is that's where it starts. If you go there with a group of people, then you're going to raise that attention and raise that awareness. That's the way to start it. What you're doing right now is a little bit. But we are not the right way. You're still missing the point. We are not. We're trying to help. The correct way to do it is with the county.
we understand. And again, this is not meant to be an argument back and forth. We are the closest to the people. We understand that. And we work very hard to represent everybody well. And you talk about, again, no one here is saying that they agree or disagree with it, but there's 30,000 people in the town. There's a handful of folks here. There's a whole lot of people who don't agree with this in the town. I understand that, but I'm saying it isn't just because you're sitting in front of us, and I hope you can appreciate it, that we just do it. Because there are people that say you shouldn't do it, because it leaves that perception that there's questions from an official government body. If you please, I'm going to ask again, do not interrupt. This is the town board. The town board is talking amongst itself. This is not an opportunity to have a dialogue. I'm sorry, but it is not. We do not have the authority. We do not have the knowledge. We do not have the experience. I'm trying to explain and express that I am not comfortable whether this is right or this is wrong in making a determination and having a government body in this county say, we agree and we want an audit because of the findings. I don't believe that's appropriate. I don't think it's responsible. These 60 other out of 933 towns, by the way, not a large margin there, have not done this for whatever reason. But I don't believe it's a responsible act by the town of Glenville. I believe this needs to go. I would support you 100%. You go to the county and you Go to every county ledge until they do listen to you. That's what I would do. I would take it to the county. They run the elections. That's where it is. I don't know. I mean, if
No,
you guys want to do a resolution, bring it up.
I just want to say, I applaud you all for coming tonight, because I know it's discouraging to
And you
hear, contrary information, but I always respect people who come and actually speak and tell us what they want to see happen here. So in my short tenure on the board, I can say we get a lot of requests for things that we just can't control. Like, it's not within our jurisdiction to affect election law. And I agree with the supervisor 100% that this is a county issue. And I can say through my experience on the board, there's a lot of stuff that happens that the county is just letting us figure out. If you want to talk about the migrant situation, there's another example right there.
And as a practical matter, I'm going to say, Councilwoman, that our resolution is only going to harden the county's opposition to your position.
That's
just a
probably
fact.
true.
That's just
That's
reality.
probably true.
They are not going to listen to us or to Rotterdam or to Dwaynesburg or Princetown on anything. It's only going to make it harder for you. That's the irony of this whole thing. I think you got to go to the county ledge and the county board of elections and just continue to hammer them until they do listen to you. That's where I think it's going to be. We could pass it, but it's not going to help the matter. It's not going to help the county take it on.
I think that's an excellent point, that it could in fact be harmful because of the dynamics of what they are and the history that's been there. It's unfortunate, but that very in fact may be true.
And I'd also like to add, I do appreciate your passion and desire to bring truth to this matter. But I would agree with the supervisor as well. I don't believe that this belongs at a local town level. Sir, to your point about, what are we going to do for future generations? That's why I'm here on the board. I'm serving for future preservation for the town that I love and the community that has been developed here. So, I want to continue to preserve that. But I do agree that this, your action really belongs at a county level. And, to say that we don't support it, I think is not true. I just don't think passing a resolution really emboldens your movement. So I applaud you, though.
Just to close the conversation on this, I do applaud you as well. I think it's important that everybody has watchdogs, and I encourage you to continue your work. I encourage you to continue to get in the media, to take it to the level of government that it belongs at. Everybody needs to be audited. Everyone needs to be watched. Everyone needs to be looked at. We don't disagree with that. It just isn't the place, I believe, but we'll see in the future. If someone brings a resolution, we can address it. You said you had a couple things.
Well, no, that was the second. That was the
okay.
second. I was
That's it?
thanking Jason initially,
Oh, okay.
if you recall.
Councilman Ramatar.
I just want to say, Jason, wish you the best. It's from day one when you started working here, you've been a tremendous asset to the town, and I'm sure everyone will miss you. I'll miss you as well. Good luck with everything.
Thank you. And the only thing I have, because we will not meet each other again, is to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. We'll enjoy it with your friends and family, and enjoy the holiday. And we'll be back here in December, just in time for the holiday season. And hope you have a healthy and safe and great Thanksgiving. And with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved in second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.